The Nova trials are set to begin tomorrow, and if you're looking to maximize your score, then this is a video that you don't want to miss. I'm going to cover the best characters and teams for each section, but more importantly, what are the best packs, aka the best Scourges to equip so you can get the highest score possible. So if you're ready to score big for the next meta character arriving in Marvel Strike Force, then you know what to do, Valley Club. Find that like button and let's go smash it!
ValleyFlyin.
Hello. Howdy, Valley Club. Welcome back to the ValleyFlyin channel. I'm ValleyFlyin. Hope you're having a great day. In this video, we're getting you all set for the Nova Scourge event that is happening tomorrow, the Nova Trials. And we're talking about the best teams to use on each node, and we're talking about the best Scourges, aka the best packs to equip for this. Now, if this is your first time here on the channel, hit that subscribe button for more great Marvel Strike Force content. We have at least 5 Marvel Strike Force videos per week on this channel with tips like this. We have question and answer videos, news videos, gameplay videos, everything to help you in Marvel Strike Force. But let's go right into the blog post describing everything that we know so far about this Nova Scourge event. And of course, for nodes 2, 6, and 10, you're gonna need the Masters of Evil, Quicksilver, and X Factor that you could use in those nodes. Now, for node 1, there are no restrictions. You could bring in any character. Nodes 3 and 7, you're going to need some city heroes, and we're going to get to some of the best selections for each of those. Nodes 4 and 8, you're going to need the best global bio characters, and 5 and 9 is going to require cosmic characters. So we're going to get to each of the best teams and selections, but before we get to that, I do want to talk about each of these individual Scourges, aka each of these individual packs, so you can get some kind of context on which are the best characters to bring in. So let's go take a look at each of these individual packs. Now, I did highlight each of these packs, and the ones in pink I think are gonna benefit the enemy teams a little bit more than yourself. The ones that I have highlighted yellow, I think they're going to be neutral. They're going to benefit you and they're going to benefit the enemies. And the ones that I have highlighted in green, I think are going to benefit you a little more than the enemies. Now, at this time, we don't know any of the enemy waves, so all of this is just kind of based on theory crafting here. But when these individual waves come up and we know all of the enemies, I think we're going to have a little bit more context on which ones to recommend. But let's start with this first one here on the offensive. When a character clears taunt, all characters on the opposite team gain offense up. And that is great if you have some taunters on the enemy teams. I've found that with some of these previous Scourge events, it's kind of hard to clear a lot of these taunts. And there's 2 key characters that you have in the Masters of Evil, 1 in X Factor, that are gonna have taunt. The one that's gonna start with the Masters of Evil is gonna be Absorbing Man. He starts with taunt, very easy to clear, dies very easily, is not very survivable. So once the enemies clear that taunt, we're gonna get offense up, which could wreck your whole team. So this one is gonna benefit the enemies a lot more. We also have multiple men on that X Factor team who, when he summons his dupes, they all have this taunt on them, and they're gonna die, which is kind of like clearing the taunt. Enemy's gonna get offense up. So I think this one is one that you're gonna equip if you just want to increase your score. It's not gonna help you, it is gonna hurt you, but if you want to maximize your score, that is one that you may want to equip. And moving on to the next pack is Man vs. Machine, where all bio characters gaining additional crit hit chance. All tech characters gain an additional dodge chance, which could be horrible, especially if there's an enemy vision. I don't know if you remember that first year of the game where there's visions that just kept dodging, and Vision and Spider-Man had additional dodge chance. Could be very, very bad, but you're gonna get some benefit as well, which is why this is highlighted in yellow. There's a lot of great bio characters that you're bringing in. Maybe not as much tech characters that are gaining benefit from that dodge, but let's go take a look at all of them. And these are some of these great ones. Now, Nova is a character that if you do manage to unlock him during this event, you could use him in the event. And that is what a lot of people did with these horsemen, makes it a lot easier. But characters that you may want to consider getting that additional crit hit chance. We have some of the Rebirth characters. Captain Carter may be one of the MVPs in these Nova trials coming up. Nova, obviously. We also want to talk about Red Hulk, who's all the way down here at the bottom. More crit chance for, or critical hit chance for Red Hulk. Good. The more damage you could do, the better. Agent Venom is another character that I do want to talk about as part of this Rebirth team. This Rebirth team looks to be very strong in this, and you may not have considered building this Rebirth team, but when you consider these packs and some of these nodes that they are eligible for, this Rebirth team looks to be very, very strong. We also have Abomination, who's also on this and has that Raider tag normally, or has that Raider ISO 8 class normally associated with him. So more crit chance is gonna be benefit for him. Is gonna be better. We also have another character here that you may want to bring in. I'm not sure, but Ghost Spider is normally a raider and would benefit from more crit hit chance. So if you are using Spider-Gwen, you could use her as well. Symbiote Spider-Man is another bio character that might benefit from this. And if you don't have a lot of these other Rebirth type characters or Massive Evil, those are characters that you may want to consider bringing in. Same thing with Black Bolt. Not a very good character nowadays, but with some of these Scourges, you may want to consider bringing in Black Bolt. And moving on to this tech section where these characters may get more dodge chance. Well, there's some scary characters that if they have a lot of dodge chance and you see these on the enemies, you may not want to equip this Scourge. Dr. Doom getting a lot of dodges could be horrible. Same thing with Kang, who you are going to use in the Masters of Evil. So that would be benefiting you. Same thing with Ultron down here is another member of the Masters of Evil. Nebula is a character that you may want to consider for the cosmic section. Full Infinity Watch team could go in there and she would get benefit from this additional dodge chance as well. And Vision, I don't know if you remember him from year one in the game, but Vision, Spider-Man both had extra dodge chance in these raids and it was horrible. So if you see a lot of enemy Visions, this may not be a good pack that you want to equip. But let's move on to the next pack down here, and it is Biocharge. All bio characters spawn with full speed and energy bars. Oh my goodness, we looked at these bio characters again. We looked at the bio characters already. Let's go look at them again. And Red Hulk with full speed, full energy bar, that would be very good for you. But if there's a lot of other Red Hulks on the field, that could be very, very bad. Spider-Man 2099, full speed bar, full energy bar, making him do his ultimate, flipping all this stuff on turn one. That can be very beneficial for you as long as there's no Spider-Man 2099s on the field. Full speed Squirrel Girl would be nice, you know, starting with that offense up, using that ultimate first, and then using the special later on after all the enemies have done their thing. A nice ultimate from Squirrel Girl be very good. Obviously, that special is the main reason you're bringing her, but if you can start with that ultimate, giving everybody offense down, that would be great as well. We mentioned Agent Venom in the previous Scourge. He's going to benefit from this as well if he starts with full speed bar. Same thing with Captain Carter, able to use her ultimate a lot more often. And we talked about Black Bolt. Black Bolt still has a pretty good kit. I really like his passive that he's going to get those extra pings once the character drops into that Red Hulk. So this is one that it could be good, could be bad. This one is going to depend on the enemy waves. The next pack is Bio Armor. When a character dies, all allied bio characters gain safeguard. Now, I think this is gonna be more of a benefit to your enemies than you. They'll have a lot of characters dying and their bio characters gonna get safeguard, which means you cannot remove positive effects from them, which could be very, very annoying. This could be a tough one. But if you're bringing your Ultron to the Massive Evil nodes, your Multiple Man to those X Factor nodes, you will have characters that could die, which you could, which wouldn't make too much of a difference because you could just summon more of them, but getting that safeguard can be a benefit. I think this will be a very, very tough one. The only exception to this is the previously mentioned Rebirth team. They're all global bio heroes, and you could use the entire Rebirth team. Now, if a character dies, you can get that safeguard and bring them back with Captain Carter. So that would probably be the only benefit that this Scourge would bring you. I do think that's going to be more beneficial to the enemies. So this is one that you could equip to increase your score. Let's move on to the next one, Warp World. And Warp World, well, doesn't seem very good. When a character drops to 50% health, their allies flip their positive status effects to negatives, and characters on the opposing side flip their negative effects to positive. And again, we mentioned Ultron, we mentioned Multiple Man. They can have their characters die and get into that safeguard, but if we're flipping all these positive effects to negatives and the opposing sides are gonna flip their negative effects to positive, this could be very, very bad. This could be a fun one as well. I think a lot of this is gonna be dependent on the enemies and what they have on their field. But yeah, you don't want your characters dying. So this could be very, very bad. Or you don't want them, you obviously don't want them dying, but you don't want them dropping below 50% health because you're just gonna get positive effects flipping, negative effects flipping. This could be very, very challenging to control, but I think this is gonna be a lot of scores that could add to your final score run. So this could be a good one. I think it will depend on the enemies, like a lot of these ones that I have highlighted in red. Let's move on to the next one. Avenging X Factor. On spawn, City Hero characters get the X Factor trait. I'm not sure how this is benefiting you because this is on spawn. This seems like it's more beneficial to the enemies, and the same one with this Masters of Spider-Verse. If they're gaining these tags on spawn, the X Factor or the Bionic Avengers spawn, I don't think you could bring them into the required nodes. So if you're trying to bring in a character to the X Factor nodes, that the nodes 2, 6, and 10, I don't think you're going to be able to bring them in because they won't have that trait there because this happens on spawn. I'm not sure if getting any of these city hero characters, that X Factor trait will make too much of a difference. This may depend on the enemies. And then if we look at these mutant characters that may get the Bionic Avengers trait, I don't see a lot of benefit for them getting this the Bionic Avengers trait either. So this is definitely one that I would skip unless you're trying to make it hard on yourself on purpose to get that score increase. But I don't see a huge benefit to you. I see this more as a benefit to the enemies. Same thing with this one. On spawn, global bio characters gain the Masters of Evil trait. Spider-Verse gain the Tangled Web trait. And I think this is going to make it a lot tougher. If we look at the global bio characters, let's go look at them, and having them gain that Masters of Evil trait, I think this is something that's going to benefit more the enemies on the entire field, because the main reason you want to bring in these Masters of Evil characters or have them have that trait is so you can use them on nodes 2, 6, and 10. But this happens on spawn, so I don't think you're going to be able to select any of these characters to bring in. But having them have the Masters of Evil trait will be good, giving them some synergy. But I think this is more beneficial for the enemies. I think the enemy waves are going to get that Masters of Evil trait and make it a lot harder. We will see when we get these nodes, but I think this is one that is going to purely benefit the enemies. Next pact is evasive maneuvers. When a character dies, their bio-allied characters gain evade. Now, in certain nodes, bringing in Rebirth, this could be beneficial because, like I said, Captain Carter, she could bring a character back to life. So if they die, no problem. Other characters that don't have the bio trait but may die, we mentioned Ultron, we mentioned Multiple Man, summoning the Ultron bots, summoning the dupes. Well, if they die, not that big of a deal. Gaining evade can be a good thing, but I think this could also benefit the enemies as well. So I think this evasive maneuvers is going to be kind of a wash. It's going to benefit you. Especially if you bring in the right characters and you having your dupes die, it's not that bad, or you're able to bring them back to life with Captain Carter, not that bad. Those evades are going to help with the survivability, but I think this one is going to really hurt when the enemies die. All their bio characters are going to gain evade. It's going to be harder to hit them. Be very annoying. You can't hit them until you remove the evade. So I think this one is going to be a wash. It's going to benefit you, but it's going to benefit the enemies as well. This one you may want to see when the waves come out, what is going to be the most beneficial. All right, Power Cosmic. All Cosmic Crucible abilities are active during this run, and this is going to be great for your Masters of Evil. But it's not going to be good if the enemies have the Unlimited X-Men, the Wakandans, the first two Cosmic Crucible Central teams. If they have Gambit, Rogue, Shuri, Black Panther, 1MM, it's going to be tough. Or M'Baku, because 1MM, OG Black Panther and M'Baku all have that revive once. You're gonna have to kill them twice. Could be very, very bad. Tangled Web with the Eternals could be bad as well. Actually, the Eternals is related to Tangled Web for that room, but Tangled Web, very tough. The new Warriors, having all their Crucible abilities active during that run, oh, that could be very, very bad. Now, if you're bringing in your new Warriors, if you plan to use your Tangled Web, and hopefully there's not a lot of Gambits, Rogues, Wakandans on the field, well, this could be a very good one. This one is going to be very reliant on what the enemy waves are. But if you see a lot of Masters of Evil on the enemy teams, some of these Crucible teams on the enemy team, it could be very bad. So this one could be good or it could be bad. I think we got to wait for the waves, the information on each of the waves to determine this one. But there's going to be some benefit for you, some benefit for the enemies. And Supernova looks to be a very, very good Scourge for you, with the benefits slightly in your favor, in my opinion. So what this says, at a start of a striker's turn, they gain barrier equal to 5% of their max health. That's fine, that doesn't do too much. But striker characters also gain +1 ability energy on enemy death. When I think of some characters that would benefit from ability energy, Icarus comes to mind. When he does his ult, characters die. And if he's getting ability energy for every character that dies, you could do ultimate after ultimate after ultimate. This could be very awesome. Red Hulk, Dormammu, Shang-Chi, giving them that striker class could be awesome. If you're using the new Warriors and you have these Cosmic Crucible abilities active, well, they are killing enemies and getting ability energy for this. Deathpool's passive could be very strong. Now, it could be working against you as well. If you have a lot of enemies that are new warriors or Tangle Whip, especially if you have both of these on, this could be a very good one, but I think you are going to be able to control some of these enemies here. And if they have a lot of striker enemies, well, you could always send in a sacrifice team as well, but this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a strong one. It is going to benefit the enemies. You got to look at which enemies on each node has that striker ISO 8 class attached to them and be careful of them, but or maybe take them out early, because this is going to be a very, very good one. And I think this one you should equip on them. And you may want to switch around your ISO 8s for these characters. Would be the only downside, because you want some of these characters that are normally Raider or normally other ISO 8 classes that benefit for this striker, and you may want to switch it up for each node. Each node may require you using a different ISO 8 class. All right, Snake Eyes. This one I think is going to be kind of a wash. It's going to benefit you and the enemies, so equip this as you see fit, but depending on what the enemy waves are. On spawn, player characters gain increased critical hit damage. Enemy characters gain increased critical hit chance. So any character that you have Raider on is going to benefit from this. So your X Factor, your Dad Bros, they have a lot of crit hit chance. Anybody else that has Raider has an increased crit chance because of that. So you're going to increase their damage, which is good. But it's also going to apply for the enemies. They're going to have more crit chance. They're going to be critting more often. We don't have the exact amounts of what these percentages go up by, but it could be huge. It could be tiny. I think this is one that is going to be very, you're going to have to manage your ISO 8s for these, especially watching your Raiders and looking who's the enemies. If they have a bunch of Dad Bros on the field or something like that, then this could be a rough one. Now, last but not least is power dynamics. Whenever a player character removes their own negative status effect, they gain trauma. Enemy characters gain slow and offense down. Now, what trauma is negative effects cannot be cleared or flipped off your character. So let's say you do an Icarus with this supernova, you kill all the enemies. Well, you're going to get trauma, which means any negative effect you already have on Icarus cannot be removed until that trauma comes off. That's fine. Hopefully you don't have a lot of negative effects, and hopefully you can manage that. But enemy characters getting slow, and at a turn-based game, slow is very important, because that means the enemies are taking turns less often. Offense down, which means that the enemies are doing less damage to you. This could be very, very big. So these green ones, once again, power dynamics, supernova, and that is it. Those are the only ones that I think purely benefit you. These ones that are washers, I think, are good on your first run to start with. Again, Snake Eyes, power, cosmic, evasive maneuvers, biocharge, and man versus machine. I think it's going to be benefiting you and the enemies. And I think these red ones are going to totally benefit the enemies. It will be dependent on what enemies are on each node, but on the offensive, bio armor, warp world, avenging X Factor, and masters of Spider-Verse, I think are going to totally benefit the enemies. And if you want to really increase your score, these are the ones I would use. So that is it. Let's go into the game though and take a look at what are the best characters for each of these sections. So first up, in nodes 3 and 7 require city heroes. We have a lot of great city heroes in this. We also have 2 new warriors, the new warriors. If you have them unlocked, I think they're going to benefit a lot, especially if you have the Scourge that gives them all their cosmic crucible benefits. But we also have Shang-Chi, who could benefit from power from supernova as well. The other characters that could benefit from supernova, Cloak, Dagger. You may want to switch them to Striker if you're going to do that. Spider-Man 2099 could benefit from that as well. So a lot of great characters here. We talked about Ghost Spider and Symbiote Spider-Man as kind of backup characters if you don't have some of these. We have a Masters of Evil character, an X-Factor character in Multiple Man that you probably don't want to use for these nodes. And in addition, we have Squirrel Girl here. We talked about can get some benefit from some of these. So kind of a lot of different options, but I think for me, based on my roster, I'm going to go with Shang-Chi, Squirrel Girl, Cloak, Dagger, and either Miss Marvel or Spider-Man 2099. Let me know who you're going to go with for this first city hero section. And moving on to this global bio section, we see Red Hulk here. We've talked about him a bunch. We have the Rebirth team here. We've talked about them a bunch as well. And I think that's going to be your main benefits. Red Hulk and or some of these Gamma characters. Abomination looks to be getting some benefits from some of these Scourges as well. But I think the Rebirth is the way to go. I don't think you want to use Titanium, Moonstone on this. I think you want to use them for other nodes. but I think Rebirth, investing heavily into them is going to be the way to go. And then you probably already invested some into your Gamma characters if you have Red Hulk unlocked. So I think the key is going to be Gamma and Rebirth in this section. As far as Cosmic, a lot of great characters here. We have the two Eternals and Icarus and Cersei who could benefit from a lot of those packs that we talked about. Dormammu also could benefit from a lot of packs. Kang, probably don't want to use him on this Cosmic section because he is our Masters of Evil. Silver Surfer is good. Black Bolt, we mentioned him as well. And Nebula and the rest of the Infinity Watch is all in this Cosmic section, so you could use a full Infinity Watch team as well. A lot of great options here. Hela is also a Cosmic character. She could benefit from a lot of Scourges as well, so a lot of great options depending on your roster. And of course, we have the Dad Bros here as well. They are X-Factor characters that you may want to not use on some of these other nodes, but that is it, guys. Those are my recommendations. A lot of great options here. Infinity Watch, Eternals, Dormammu, a lot of stuff that you could do in the Cosmic section. And I hope this helps you to maximize your score for Nova. Looks to be a very, very good character. Hopefully this helps you. If this guy does help you in increasing your score, let YouTube know. Hit that like button because it does help that YouTube algorithm. If you want more Marvel Strike Force content, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know as soon as a new video goes up. Share this with your friends. Check me out on social media. And have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time. Hulk fist bump, ValleyFlyin out. Thanks for watching.